Hey y'all, welcome back to Give Me a Moment. I'm your host Des P, and we are back again. Back. We have returned back. This episode is about giving back to the community, and I just thought about, who else would I have on here other than, my sweet Andrea here. My sweet Andrea.
Hello.
Not hello. So let's get into she's done a lot. She's giving back to the community in her way, and we'll get into that and talk about how she started up giving back to the community and where she's at now. So just introduce yourself and give a little story. Do you want to talk about how we know each other?
We could do a little intro of how we know each other.
All right. So Andrea is actually my niece. This is the one that I've talked about on several episodes of my niece that is 2 years younger than me. She is like a sister to me. She is my sister. So so yeah, this is her. We grew up together. We fought plenty of
A lot.
times.
A lot.
Plenty of
Who
times.
used to win
Me.
until I got older?
So yeah, so it was, but I was, the nice one. I was
um, that's debatable, but this is your
mm,
rendition, so we can go with that.
okay. So
The quieter one, the sneakier one. I was the one who always got caught. That's what it was.
no, she was very outspoken, very
Very.
outspoken. So, anyways, so yeah, we grew up as sisters. So that's that. So I want to get into a little bit of what you have going on. You do have a mentorship program that is called Standout. If you can see our shirts,
Yes.
it's called Standout. So you give back to the community and the teenagers.
Mhm.
So tell me a little bit about that and what inspired you
Mhm.
to come up with a mentorship program.
Okay. So yeah, like she said, I have a nonprofit mentorship program called Standout Youth Mentoring. And what caused me to want to give back in that way, ever since I was a teenager, I knew that I wanted to start a youth program. Since I was like 13 in the eighth grade, that's when I got the idea of one day starting a youth program. And that's just because growing up, I had my own difficulties in school, getting in trouble and things like that. And I also felt like that was one end of the spectrum. On the other end of the spectrum, I was also good at giving people advice.
Mm,
I was always level-headed, always had a good head on my shoulders. I was raised right. And I, would give people advice as well. And I knew what I needed at that time, was a little more support,
mhm,
and more people to understand me. So when I was a teenager, I felt like one day I want to help teens. Like I know what I need. I'm very self-aware. I know, the type of support that I felt like I wasn't getting in school, and I knew how to talk to my peers, and I felt like I want to work with teens one day because I'm good at giving my friends advice, talking to people and stuff like that. So that's where the idea started to come from. And as I got older, I started working with kids at the YMCA. And I was like, yeah, this just confirms that I want to do this. Like, I want to continue working with kids. So went to college, became a teacher, and then
mhm.
started the mentorship program.
Okay. And
Yeah.
so you went to college,
Mhm.
you went to Sam
I
Houston.
did.
All the Sam Houston graduates out there.
Yep.
So when you went into college, is that something that you wanted to do, the teaching? You wa- did you
N-
want to do that?
No, no, I did not. I did not have plans to be a teacher. I think when I was always in advanced level classes growing up, so you kind of are molded to, aim for certain things. So I
Okay.
always had in my mind, like, okay, I'm gonna be in school for a long time. Like, I'm gonna probably go get my PhD and then, be a doctor of some sort. So that was
Okay.
always the goal. So at first, I wanted to be a pediatrician. But in
Mhm,
my mind, I couldn't figure out how I was going to intertwine like the way I wanted to work with the youth and being a medical doctor.
mhm,
And so as I was going through school, I knew that like I was still working at the YMCA while I was in college, and I knew that I wanted to like work with kids. So
Mhm.
that's why when I was going the pediatric route, but I just knew that that wasn't something like that was going to fulfill me. Like I didn't have a passion for medicine. Shout out to all the doctors, all the people in medical school. I didn't have a passion for medicine though, and I couldn't see myself in a science book for the next 7 years.
Okay. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, this probably isn't the route that this is a great route, tons of money here, but I was like, this is probably not where I want to go.
Yeah.
So I kind of graduated without really like a plan. Like I knew the end goal was to eventually have a youth program. Like that was always in the back of my
Oh,
mind,
okay.
but how I was going to get there, I didn't know. I trusted God though. I didn't like graduate like nervous or scared. I just knew
Mhm.
like, okay, what's the next step? Like what we about to do? And
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So that there was like teaching wasn't on your mind at
Not
all.
yet. No, not
Not
yet.
not yet at all. Okay.
Not yet, no. Not in college.
Okay. So what makes your mentorship different from other mentorship programs?
So Standout is a peer mentorship program. So
Okay.
we mentor kids through peer mentorship. So peer mentors are kids that are in the same age group but older. So they mentor the younger kids. So I have juniors and seniors who mentor freshmen and sophomore.
Okay.
And they're kids who meet the standout requirement of being a mentor. Like you're an excellent student, you are a good role model, you're somebody who can motivate a younger teen and be an example of what they should become.
Mm,
So I feel like when sometimes with teenagers, we all been teenagers, so we know as a teenager, it's kind of hard to see the bigger picture sometimes, especially if you're a student who
yeah.
struggles with your behavior, your academics. You're not really thinking big picture. You're thinking
Yeah.
about today. When you see somebody in your age range who's successful, who's thriving, who's accomplishing great things, it shows you like, oh, even though I'm young, I could still do great things now. I could still, make better choices now. I can still accomplish a lot. And so it gives them that closer look of what it looks like to be successful today. And by doing that, their future will, benefit from it.
Okay. So, how many teens are a part of Standout?
So every year we get bigger. Every year we grow, we expand. So when I first started Stand Out in 2018, it was a small group
Okay.
of girls and it was an
Mhm.
all girls program at the time. I had, wanted to do a girls mentorship program.
Okay.
And after that, I was like, you know what? The boys need this too. And I feel like boys can benefit from this and I can mentor young boys as well.
Mhm.
So the following year is when the pandemic happened, kind of took a little
Okay.
hiatus because it was the 2018-2019 school year. Then we started the 2019-2020 school year. When we were getting off to a start, the pandemic happened. We took a little hiatus. Then when we came back, we started again in 2021. When we came back to school from the pandemic, we started again in 2021, and that's when I incorporated boys and I made it co-ed. So it was girls and boys, and that's when I incorporated peer mentors.
Okay.
So we started with a small group. The following year, we had probably about 15, 20 kids. This year, we have about 30 to 35 kids and stand out.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Just what, 2 weeks ago, I actually went
Yeah.
to one of her meetings
Yes.
with her mentors and mentees.
Yes.
And that was an experience. That
Hmm.
was that was something
Tell me about it.
it was really fun. I had a good time there. I actually had a little pop quiz
Yeah, a
questionnaire,
trivia.
little
Yeah.
trivia for her kids. That's part of the program. Just ask them a little questions to see how well they know Miss G over here.
Hmm.
So it was fun.
Yeah.
I really had a good time. The kids there was very respectful.
Hmm.
Um, they opened up. They felt like it was just so comfortable there.
Yeah.
Like the vibe was just so comfortable. Everybody was willing to help. You seen everybody just getting up, doing things like passing around the books. They have food there too. So
Mhm.
it was passing around food, making sure, everybody had what they needed.
Mhm.
Um, and it was just so good to see
Yeah.
all of that happening in that generation
Mhm.
because you don't see that often on social media and everything. So you need to kind of uh step back and be like, okay, this needs to be put out there. This needs
Yeah.
to be known. We need to see this more often.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm glad that you're doing that.
Yeah.
So I wish we had that growing up
Yeah.
too, mentorships and stuff to kind of keep
Mhm.
us on track. Um, so you're doing a really good job, a
Thank you,
great
thank you.
job doing that.
Yeah.
All the kids love her. They
Yeah, and one thing, whenever people come to visit Standout, that's something that that's the feedback that I always get is how, like, respectful the
Yeah.
kids are, and I love them and I appreciate them because they really give you what you give them,
Mhm.
and that's with all teenagers. That's even something that, like, I try to apply in the classroom, like, teens will give you what you give them,
Mhm.
so if you're giving them love and respect, they're gonna give you that right back, and you can see, like, when you come in there, like, the kids, they've always exceeded my expectations. Like, I ask something of them,
Okay.
and especially my peer mentors, like, I'll ask something of them, and they always exceed my expectations. I'm like, "Y'all made me look so good." Like, I, compliment them when we have guests, like, "Y'all are amazing." Like, anything, even if we have, like, something where an activity where we're in the hallway and I know it makes a lot of mess and I'm like, "Hey, make sure we clean this up," so the
Mhm.
custodians don't have I come out and everything's clean, like we weren't even in there. Like, they're great kids.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so I've actually spent some time actually talking to some of them, a few, and just hearing them and, you know, just getting feedback from them of how they enjoy the mentorship and how they are very thankful that this mentorship is there for them.
Mhm.
That is really, really good to hear. So let's talk about
Mhm.
what you have coming up.
Mhm.
So you do have a summer program
Mhm.
starting this summer.
Yep.
So let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay, so far, Standout has been a school-based mentorship program. So, like I said, I started it at the high school that I teach at, and it's been within the school for the past few years. I officially became a nonprofit organization in 2022. So, went through with that, and the reason I did that was because I knew that eventually I would want to take this outside of the school and into the community. So we're officially a nonprofit. We're a 501(c)(3), a tax exempt nonprofit organization. And basically, what that means is, a nonprofit organization doesn't receive profit for their services. So we're funded through donations, through sponsorship, and things like that, so that we can be free to the community. So Stand Out is a free mentorship program. And this summer, we're going into the community and we're doing a 8-week mentorship program. So it's
Okay.
still the same structure as a school year. Once a week,
Okay.
meals are provided. It's free. We start off with food, then we go into mentee and me time, which is basically the time that the peer mentor has with their mentee. They do some type of activity together. This school year, we have a workbook that I created where they go through and do an activity and
Mhm.
talk about different skills, build different skills, and set goals. And Standout is all goal oriented, so we're making goals week to week, setting goals week to week, and tracking our progress towards those goals. So
Okay.
we'll be doing the same thing in the summertime. There's a few things, that, we're not gonna, announce yet, but that we have in the works. But it will be an 8-week program for teenagers 13 through 17. And we'll be starting June 1st to July 27th.
Okay. Are you taking any more uh
Kids?
kids, any more teens? Like, can they
Yeah.
register?
Yeah, definitely. They can register at standoutyouthmentoring.org. We are
Okay.
still taking kids. We have enough peer mentors.
Okay.
If there is a older teen who says, that's something I want to do, you can still reach out and we can make room for you. But we are focused on, getting the mentees in. So teens 13 through 17, you or your parent can go to the website and register.
Okay. Okay. Um, so let's get a little backstory on, how you were growing up and uh, the struggles that you went through
Mhm.
in that, and what brought you here today to give back to the
Mhm.
kids because you have a little bit of a experience of what you went through, and um, the difficult ways of trying to express
Mhm.
yourself, and how you went through those obstacles.
Yeah. So growing up, I was definitely bad. I was a bad child.
BAD.
BAD. I was bad.
Big bag.
Yeah, I got into a lot of trouble. Like from the moment I learned how to talk, I was trouble. But one of my main challenges, because behind every behavior, there's a reason why.
Mhm.
Nobody's just like, I just want to be bad. There's a reason behind that behavior. My particular struggle was I didn't know how to express myself in an appropriate way, and everything came out as anger. Like
Okay.
I struggled with my temper, I struggled with my anger. I was very, very, very smart, but getting my point across was a struggle because I would get angry before anything else. If I didn't feel like a person understood me, if I felt like something was unfair, I would get angry. My first response was to get angry. And it wasn't just to get angry and like, some people get angry and shut down. It was get angry and tear everything up.
So it was
And
like 0 to 100 real
real
quick.
quick, real quick.
There
And
was no in between.
no in between, and a lot of people, like, especially when I talk to the kids, if I meet kids who struggle with their temper at school
Mhm.
and I try to tell them, like, I was where you're at, they're like, they don't believe it. Like,
Yeah.
they don't believe it because now I'm calm. Like, even when I'm dealing with stuff with a teenager, even if they're acting, I'm calm. Like, I'm gonna handle things calmly because there's more power there. But it took me time to learn that. But when I was young, it was, I had a very, very bad temper, and I would be ready to fight, ready to cuss somebody out, ready to destroy things. I destroyed a lot of things. Like that was my way of like coping, and I knew that there was a better way. There were, sometimes where counselors would try to give me coping mechanisms and stuff like that, but nothing was, really just clicking for me or working for me. And, as I got older and I started to deal with consequences from reacting to things that way and getting in trouble at school
Mhm.
and things like that, I was like, okay, so I'm either going to ruin my life or I'm going to decide that I need to do things differently, you know.
Did you have a teacher that you looked up to as a mentor to kind of help guide you? Um,
I would
like,
say
did you have that in middle school, high school?
I had a lot of great teachers who I still know to this day, that I've still kept in touch with to this day. But I never really looked to anybody to as a mentor because I had that in my parents.
Okay.
So, not saying that the only kids who get mentored are the ones who don't have that in their parents. There are a lot of
Yeah.
kids who have great parents who are like mentors, but still, have mentors outside of their parents, which is totally fine because a mentor, sometimes is someone who can relate to your specific goals and where you're
Yes.
specifically trying to go.
Okay.
But I didn't have anybody when I was in school that I would really consider a mentor. I kind of just clung to my parents for that type of
Mm.
support. Like if you know, one thing about my parents is even when everybody else was calling me bad, they never called me bad. Like they
Mhm.
would talk to me and help me, and I felt like they were people I could go to if I was struggling, and trying to stay out of trouble, but couldn't stay out of trouble. Like those were the people that I would go to, you know.
Okay. So did I know when you're in school and your behavior, teachers can't control that.
Mhm.
Did they ever talk to your parents about, like, okay, I think we need to go this route with her,
Mhm.
as seeking
Professional help.
professional
Oh,
help
yeah, all the
in
time.
medical
Medical help. Yeah,
help?
all the time. Yeah. I think in the school, that's the first response because it's a lot to deal with. It's very, very challenging. Even as a teacher, like when you have a kid who's a challenge, it's a lot to deal with. And if you're not equipped to deal with, which teachers aren't really equipped to deal with that,
Yeah.
you're equipped to teach content and to teach it well and to, do some classroom management. But when you have a case of um a child who, is really a behavioral issue,
Hmm.
that's the route that most want to take is, seek professional help. maybe some medicine to keep her calm,
Yeah.
and it's not like I would just come to school and act a fool every single day. It would have to be triggers. Like outside of me having a temper, I was a class clown. I used to joke a lot, make everybody laugh. It was just that moment I feel like you crossed me. Everything, would
Yeah.
switch, but, it wasn't like I just, had like crazy moods or was unstable. I just couldn't control my anger. And that's my parents are Christians, so their way of dealing with things was through prayer. Like, we know our child, we know what she's capable of, you know, she's gonna overcome this.
Yeah.
And I did get whoopings. Like it wasn't like they was just like they was just like, okay, let's pray. No, they used to my parents are from Trinidad, they're Caribbean. We either gonna beat it out of her or pray it out of her. Something is gonna work, and it worked.
It worked.
It
It
worked.
worked. Yes, that is growing up with you. We did go through a lot
Talk about it.
of
Talk about it.
things, a lot of things. I know there'll be times that we actually, Andrew would just get me into some mess that I'd be like, why did I listen to her? She would always talk me into doing things with her so she won't be the only person getting in trouble. There will be times where I'll go over to her house and one day we played in her mom's makeup and we played in her makeup.
And we were young, like 6.
Yeah.
And
We
or
were,
probably younger than that.
I don't know how
Yeah.
old we were, but we knew we couldn't be in that makeup bag. We was old enough to know that. Yeah, and she was like, "No, it's okay. My mom is gonna think that we're princesses, and she's gonna. She's like, oh, look at my little princesses. You look so beautiful." No, my sister walked through that door and she kicked me out. She
Woo!
kicked.
That sounds bad because I just said how old she was, but we lived in the same apartment complex, so
Yeah.
it was
She was
like
like, go home. She was
it,
like, go home. No,
and I feel
I'm
like
not.
this story must have really traumatized you because you tell everybody this, and we done did worse stuff. But this is the one story, like, she must have really
When
been bamboozled because I really did convince her though. I'm not gonna lie. Like I was like, oh, I do this all the time. Like she loves it. And when she comes home, she's gonna be like, look at my princess. Y'all are so beautiful. I knew that she was not gonna feel that way. But I wanted to play in the makeup. And didn't I make us draw a crown on our head? I think I made us draw a crown. I was like, when she see us, she gonna be like, my little princess. I knew my mom wasn't gonna feel that way.
I don't know why I used to let her talk me into
Yeah, I really
doing
I
things
did a
like
lot of
that.
convincing.
We have done some things, like I think you prank called 911.
Oh yeah, we used to. I don't know why she says me. We was in
No,
cahoots.
we used
We was in cahoots. I don't know why she says me. We were in cahoots.
we
We used to prank call 911.
no, now
And
911. We used to prank call the operator. So when you
oh
press
yeah.
0 and you prank call the operator, that's what we used to
Okay,
do.
I used to prank call 911, but we used to prank call the operator. It,
So it was, yeah, we did something. And she would convince me every time
not every time.
to do
Okay,
things. Probably once in a while, you would hear me be like, "Oh, let's do this."
not once in a while. I think, okay, the things that I used to convince her about, we would always get caught. Like, we would always get caught, and she would get in more trouble than she's used to getting into because she was sneaky. So anything that was her idea, we probably didn't get caught because she was a little more sly. But I was trying to do the, like, you gonna get in trouble for this because I didn't care. Like, I was trying to do the big things.
And then when she gets caught, you have to chase her in order to get to
yeah,
her.
do your job. You want to whoop me, do your job and come get me. Like I'm not gonna turn myself in. Like you're gonna find me. Oh, you want to whoop me? Okay, I'm seeing it in your eyes that you're thinking about putting your hands on me. Good luck. Good luck, because I'm finna go and I'm finna run as far as I can until I feel like you are out of breath. And I look back and you still got some energy. I'm running a little more.
Yes. There would be times we did go to school together. So there would be times where, her temper was really bad. So one time we was on a school bus and she got into a fight. And yeah, that boy did not and a chance with her. Andrea used to fight boys, not too many
Yeah, I
girls.
didn't really get into many fights with girls. I fought boys until I was too old to be fighting boys. Like I was fighting boys till like high school, and then I was like,
Yeah.
I'm staying the same size, and they getting bigger. So once they kind of started to give me a little run for my money, I kind of stopped fighting boys. But I
Yeah.
fought boys for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
And I was just telling one of my mentees that story about the school bus
The
and
school bus.
how the bus driver didn't turn me in. None of
She didn't
that.
do
Waited,
anything.
pulled up to the stop because it was right before we got off the bus at our stop. Pulled up to the stop, wait for me to finish fighting. She was like, Andrea, come on, let's go. Pulled me off. We walked off the bus like it was nothing, and he continued on with his stops. He didn't.
Yeah.
He let me finish.
Let me
He let me
see.
finish.
Yeah.
But
So
the boy that I was fighting, we end up being good friends.
good
So that
friends.
was a bonding moment for us.
If he
And he
was
hit me
like,
first. He hit me first, right?
I think
He hit me
so.
first. Yeah. I'm not sure because I got into
I think.
a few bus fights, but he and it was with boys, but he hit me first. And he said, I put my hands on females. And he
Oh.
hit me. So
Yeah.
me being 0 to 100,
Yeah. She did not even give him a chance. Well, I mean, he did
he
hit
hit
you.
me.
He
He hit
hit you.
me.
So after that, he didn't expect what was coming behind that.
Cause like I said, I was a clown. I used to be playing and joking and
Yeah.
laughing. And unless you actually see me mad, you wouldn't think that I would get that mad.
Hmm.
And then until you did, and then after that, you knew like
Yeah.
something wrong with her. Yeah, something might be wrong with
Yeah.
her.
And I'll be like, okay, Andrew, come on, let's go.
Yeah, she was used to it, so she was like, "Andrea, come on, let's go. Like, come on." And
Like, come on. Because we
just
fight.
mm,
We used to fight a lot, like almost
mhm.
every day.
She was the reason I was a fighter because she was bigger than me. And every time I went to her house and we would fight, I would leave with like scratches on my back because she had long nails, bruises, scratches all on my back. And so I was used to fighting all the time. So that's how I knew to handle stuff like, oh, okay, you made me mad. Yeah, we fight because this is what we do. Like we fight, we gonna fight it out. So that's
It's, it's the
my aunt,
norm.
my auntie taught me that when I get upset, we gotta fight it
You
out.
gotta fight. No, I'm not a fighter. I'm not a fighter.
She just used to like to fight me
That's not
and
true.
hit me first.
That's not true.
It hit me first, yeah.
So, with all of the obstacles that you went through growing up and me seeing you, I think I started seeing a change in high school, but right when you were about to graduate
Mhm,
and in college,
mhm,
a lot in college, you actually made a whole 360, a whole
mhm.
turnaround. And
Yeah.
it was just like, oh, okay.
Mhm.
Like, and you were much more calm now.
Mhm.
You were more, uh, you can actually sit down and have a
Mhm.
conversation
Yeah.
without the conversation getting heated
Mhm.
and, yelling across the table and everything. So I started to see a change in that, and I was like, "Oh, okay, like this is, yeah, y'all didn't want to see the Andrea back then because
Mm.
this Andrea now is totally different." You would be like, okay, and
Mhm.
everybody that knows her knows that, um, actually from going to school with you and then seeing how you are now as an adult and
Mhm.
actually taking on the teacher role and being a mentor for your
Mhm.
students. So I think you're just you're great.
Thank you, thank
You're
you.
great.
Yeah, and just piggybacking off of what you said, like with, the change occurring in high school and then actually the 360 happening in college, like that just goes to show that change does not happen overnight because I was
Mhm.
trying before everybody else could see the change. Like, before it looked like, there was a complete 360. I was trying since I was like a junior in high school.
Yeah. Mhm.
Like I said, I was getting in trouble. I got arrested twice when I was in school. And at that point is when I started to try to change, and I feel like, sometimes the devil, when he sees like, oh no, you ain't about to do nothing, like that's when more challenges come. So
Yeah.
it was like at the beginning when I was a junior, the more I tried to change, it was like the more like stuff would happen. And the more of a struggle it was to the point I was like, man, I might as well just stay how I am because I'm trying to do better and trouble keep finding me, like
Yes.
trouble keep finding me.
Yeah.
But it was like, okay, it took practice. It took me learning like, how to communicate And once I learned, like around college, once I learned like how to stay calm and have a conversation, I realized how effective that is. Like when you sit down and talk to somebody, like you really learn a lot. Like you understand why they did what they did that made me so mad. And it's like, oh, okay, like I understand your point of view. Thank you for
Yeah.
not disrespecting me and saying that. So, we could have a kosher conversation. But now I understand and I began to like really love communication. And now I'm big on communication. Like if it's a problem, let's talk about it. Let's get down to the bottom of it because I really want to understand people and understand why you did what you did. And it's a lot easier for me to be calm, even if I do feel like the other person isn't doing a good job of being calm.
Mhm.
Like now it's really hard for me to get upset. Like I can't remember the last time I've gotten like angry or yelled. I don't cuss nobody out. I don't cuss nobody out. I don't,
Yeah.
like at all. Like even if the person that I'm, having an issue with is, I'm not gonna let you disrespect me. I'm gonna end the conversation real quick because that's what we're not gonna do. Or, if it's necessary, I'll tell you, uh, we ain't gonna do that, but I'm not gonna let you get me upset.
She not gonna throw them bowls on
No,
you.
I'm not gonna fight. I'm not gonna fight. I'm not gonna fight. Don't touch me, and I'm not gonna fight. I'm
No.
not. Just keep your hands to yourself. Because I don't have to fight now. But
Yeah. Back then you was ready for a girl fight.
ready for whatever.
Ready for it.
Ready for
You
whatever.
stayed on ready.
Yeah.
So you don't have to get ready.
Right.
No, but yeah, that I feel like bringing you on here and talking about, how far you have grown from being a kid now to being an adult and now seeing that you're giving back to the community now and you're explaining to the kids like, hey, this is you could overcome this. This is
Mhm.
not something that will stick with you forever.
Mhm.
You do have to put in the work and you do
Yeah.
have to acknowledge, like, hey, you need to fix this. You need
Yeah.
to, bring this back. Um, it's great to see that. Yeah, and I had to bring you on here to
Yeah.
talk about it because I feel like everybody needs to know about the struggles that you're going through as a kid and you feel like nobody understands you, nobody gets you, nobody,
Yeah.
you know, it it happens to all of us.
Yeah.
It happened to all of
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. And in some way, shape, or form, everybody has been a teenager and has experienced some type of difficulty with expressing themselves. It may not look the same for everybody, but those teenage years, you're trying to figure life out,
Yeah.
and and ultimately the responsibility is on you. And I feel like once a kid realizes that, like nobody's gonna save you, nobody's gonna change for you, nobody's gonna
Mhm.
make better decisions for you. Like
Yeah.
ultimately, the responsibility is yours. So look at where your life is going because that's what I had to do. Now I use myself as an example. I don't really share with my students personal things unless it's necessary. So
Okay.
if it's relevant to what's going on, then I'm gonna tell you I used to do X, Y, Z. So I know what you're feeling or I was
Yeah.
10 times worse. So I get how you're feeling and stuff like that. But ultimately you have to look at your life now and where it's going and is
Mhm.
this okay for you? Like, are you okay with this being your life?
Yeah.
And how I realized, like, no, I'm not okay with doing community service every Saturday
Yeah.
morning or getting put in handcuffs. Like, I'm actually not okay with that. I
Yeah.
don't want no police officer to touch me ever again in life. So I'm not okay with that. You have to make that decision for yourself. Like, okay, this is not the future I want. So what is the future I want? And that's what I'm gonna go towards. And it doesn't matter. Like everybody else doesn't matter whatever teacher's making you mad, whatever person's making you mad, whoever make you feel like you want to fight and act a fool, whoever makes you feel like you
Mhm.
want to skip class, because everybody's issue isn't anger. Some people's issue is, I just don't want to do it. Like I don't want to go to class. I don't want to, go to school. I don't want to put in the effort. I don't want to comply,
Yeah.
or I want to do things that I shouldn't be doing at
Yep.
this age, and you have to ask yourself, like, is this future okay for you?
Mhm.
And like actually see what you are capable of. Because a lot of kids don't see anything like what's wrong with this future, like what's
Yeah.
wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. Like, well, what are you capable of? You may be capable of a lot more than you think you are if you would actually
Yeah.
you know
Put the
change.
work
Yeah,
into it.
exactly.
Yeah. That that's something, and especially not only with that too. I mean, you have to put work in not only as a kid but as an adult as well
Mhm.
too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I feel like in my early 20s I didn't really understand where I was going in life
Yeah.
too, because it's like you're still trying to figure out life, and that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Uh, so that is, I mean, hey, you if you have somebody that you look up to, and you could go to them for advice, and they are willing to help you out, then go to that person, but also don't waste their time
Yeah.
either. Like if you see somebody is putting their effort and their, you know, time into you, and they want to see good in you, and what you're doing is just wasting their time because you're going to do what you want to do at the end, is like, okay, what are they there for? Are they there to help you, or are they there just to make you look good for the moment?
Yeah.
um
And I actually have like grown a philosophy with that as I've mentored, because when you start something, and that's why I think small beginnings are so important. A lot of people want to rush to quickly do something big. But I think
yeah.
like the beginning stages is your learning, like your learning ground, like that. Those experiences are necessary for you to know how to be good at what you do. Because
Hmm.
everything is hypothetical until you actually do it. Like, I think I can do this and I think I can do this. But when you actually experience it, it's like, okay, now I know how to tweak it because I've been doing it.
Yeah.
And one of the things I realized, like with mentoring kids, is you can't force a mentorship relationship.
Hmm.
And I told my peer mentors that at the beginning of the school year, and they're quick to let me know, like, yeah, I don't think this is working. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen,
Yeah.
where they'll say, like, yeah, I don't think. And I'm like, okay, I'll talk to this kid, and stuff like that. But you can't force a mentorship relationship. And that doesn't mean that, the kid is hopeless, but they're not at a place where they're ready to be mentored yet,
Hmm.
because it's actually worse. And I do a lot of research on mentorship. It's actually worse to try to force a kid into something they're not ready for, and then,
Hmm.
be like, okay, well, never mind, and leave
Yeah.
them where they're at. It actually, statistically, it actually is more damaging. So I had to learn that, though, through experiences and doing research, like, okay, why does this work? Why doesn't this work? And I've learned that, like, you have to have a child who's receptive to mentorship, because when you try to force it, that does more harm than good.
Yeah.
And so, kids, everyone at different stages of their life become ready to receive support, to receive guidance. And if we notice, like, okay, we tried, and this kid, sometimes people will recommend kids to stand out,
Mhm.
and they're just not at a place. So we're gonna build that good relationship, and they know that, if you need anything, we're here, but we're not gonna force it. And
Yeah.
eventually, if they don't want that help, they won't continue to, you know, or we won't allow them to continue to,
Mhm.
try to be a part of something they don't want to be a part of.
Yeah.
And when you're ready, that door is always gonna be open.
Good. Girl, you speaking it
Mhm.
today, honey. You're speaking it today.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about, you are going into the summer of doing a summer program, and you did mention at the meeting that you are doing a fundraiser.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you doing?
Well, the fundraiser that we're doing is really in school, and it's, amongst our kids, but we've been, posting our goal for the summertime. We just started posting our goal for the summertime on social media. And like I said earlier, Standout is a tax exempt nonprofit organization. So that means that donations are tax deductible when you donate. And I think this is a lot of thing. This is something that a lot of people don't really understand. Like, when you give back to charity, when you give back to a nonprofit, those things do benefit you as well. Like, those are things that you can write off on your taxes. They're tax deductible, and it's an incentive to you. It shouldn't be the motive, but it is an incentive to you to give back, because that's the purpose.
Yeah.
Legally, that's the purpose of them making it tax exempt, because you want people to give back to their community
Mhm.
and, make a change in any type of way that they can. So right now we are raising money, for our summer program. You will see a lot more on social media, with us doing digital fundraisers, or just encouraging people to donate and things like that.
Okay. Well, well, honey, you doing big things out here.
Yeah,
Big things.
we
I know.
trying.
I know. You're really doing great. Just listening to the your students and how much they appreciate you, and I know that coming out in the community and teaching other kids as well too in the mentorship program, especially this summer. I know that you're going to touch other kids' lives,
Mhm.
and hopefully, that relationship just carries on
Yeah.
into their adulthood as well too. So I do appreciate you coming on here and talking about the mentorship program and giving a little bit of an insight on, the struggles that you went through as a kid,
Mhm.
and then being an adult now
Mhm.
and viewing things differently. uh it I hope it would help a lot of people on here that's watching and listening
Yeah.
as well, because it is helpful. Where can they find you?
So we have a website, standoutyouthmentoring.org, and our Instagram is standout underscore mentoring, and our Facebook is standout youth mentoring. So you can find us on all of those platforms. The website is the best place to go if you're looking to make a donation.
Like, please do. No, if it's on your heart, do that. Um, no, because it's needed,
Mhm.
especially for the younger generation that is growing up. They're gonna be the ones taking care of us
Right.
when we get older. So we need
Mhm.
to we need to get it together.
Yeah, help them get it together. And we're just getting started. Like we have a lot planned for Standout. This is just the beginning, but we can only go as far as, the community that we're serving supports us. We work hand in hand.
Okay, all right. Well, we have with the meeting that I went to, we do have a video of that, so we're gonna
Yeah.
post that up as
Mhm.
well, and then a couple of things that she mentioned, we'll post that up as well, so that you can take a look at it and
Mhm.
everything, and see what you like, and see if you want to be a part of the program. I'm
Mhm.
telling you, you don't want to miss out on that.
No, you don't. And we'll put some links. We'll put
Oh.
some links for the website, the shirts. If you like the shirt, you can go buy a shirt.
Yes, yes. The,
Yeah.
the link will be at the bottom.
Yeah, down here somewhere.
Somewhere. But yes, please go to her website. Donate whatever you can. It could be $5 or how much you want them to
I mean,
donate.
however the Lord leads you, let the Lord use you. Okay, let the Lord use you. But
Yes.
whatever is on your heart.
Okay.
Mhm.
So yes, you could get a t-shirt. She does have t-shirts. She has hoodies. What else? Sweaters. Is it
Um,
sweaters?
Long sleeve crew
Long
necks
sleeves.
and t-shirts and hoodies. Mhm.
Okay. So yeah, she has all of that.
And we
So
have a few different styles, as you can see. We're both wearing. She has a logo, and I have a blue shirt that says "Stand Out." And we have this in different colors. We have that in different colors. We have some other styles,
yes.
all
So
created by yours truly.
all right. Well, yes. That was a good segment. That was a good episode. So, if you would like to like, comment, and subscribe, you could find me on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok,
Mhm.
Facebook, all of the social media platforms. Even you can listen on Buzzsprout. Buzzsprout now distributed all out to Apple, Google, and Spotify
Mhm.
as well. So you can listen while you're driving in the car,
Mhm.
or when you're out doing whatever, grocery shopping and stuff, and then or you could just pop us up on your TV or on your phone and just watch. But yeah, so like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll be back soon. So stay tuned.